Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth and it's nice to be sewing with you today. Behind me I have a quilt I made a couple years ago here on my channel, a little Christmas quilt along, and this year I'm starting a new Christmas quilt, kind of the middle of the year, the springtime, but hopefully by Christmas it'll be ready. And here's the second block. Let's get started. Here's the first block I made for my new sampler quilt, and here is the block for today. I have made two, and I'm going to take you along with how to make this beautiful red and green block. So I need some 4-inch squares, and I need quite a few 2.5-inch squares to make some half square triangles and to cut some triangles as well. So I'm going to begin by making all of those half square triangles, and I will leave the cutting amounts down below in the description box so you'll know how many squares to cut. My first half square triangle, using these 2.5-inch squares, I drew a pencil line down the middle, and I will continue sewing on both sides of that pencil line, and then I'll cut along the pencil line. And for the rest of my half square triangles, I will be just eyeballing that pencil line and cutting through the middle. And since these little half square triangles are just a little bit bigger than what we need, it seems to work out okay because I press and then I will trim everything to 2 inches. For my quilt block today, I needed a total of 20 green and white half square triangles and 8 red and white half square triangles, and I'm trimming them all to 2 inches. Here's the old pattern book I'm using for my inspiration. You can see this block is called Jingle Bells, and I was unable to find this block anywhere else. But I went and divided this block into 4 smaller blocks, and I need 4 of each to make this larger quilt block. So number 1 is the first one that I'll be working with, and the block is called a shaded 4-patch. It uses 1 half square triangle, 2 triangles, smaller triangles, and then a large triangle. So I'm cutting 2.5-inch squares, and the way I'm laying it out right now is the traditional shaded 4-patch design. But after I made all of these little quilt blocks, I realized I had switched. That green triangle is supposed to be pointing the other direction. So I made them all, and then I had to rip them all out, and sometimes that happens when we're quilting. Even though this is the incorrect way to put this block together for my quilt block today, I thought I would show you how I tried to get it the correct size using my little triangles. I laid that ruler next to the point of the green triangle, and I measured 1/4 inch to the edge of the fabric, and then I will have a 1/4 inch seam that will sort of line up with the point of that green triangle. And after I put my block together here, I will double check that it measures 3.5 inches. And most of my blocks I needed to trim just a teeny tiny bit off to get it to measure 3.5 inches, mainly just those little tails on each end. I said I am putting them together incorrectly, but this is a really fun block when it is put together like this. If you were to make a whole quilt with this beautiful block, but in just a minute I'm going to realize my mistake, and I'm going to get my tiny scissors out, and I will be pulling these apart and starting again. So after taking out all of the seams, I rearranged my pieces to get them in the right order for the quilt block that I am making today. And here I've rearranged the pieces so that the green is going the right direction, and now I'll be able to put my block together. This is the first block that I need for my larger quilt block, and there are 3 more to go. So here I am making the second one, and I just needed to add a red triangle in place of one of those white triangles. And the third quilt block uses the same elements, but I just needed to switch the red to the other side. Last but not least, I need to make one more quilt block using half square triangles, 2 red and 2 green. I now have my 4 different smaller quilt blocks ready to go, and I'm going to lay them out in the correct order using these square and a square blocks in the center with the green in the middle. And then I'll take the pink triangles, those larger triangles with the pink print. Those need to be on the outside with the red triangles lining up with each other, and I'll do the same with the second set of pink triangles out there on the outside. And last but not least, I will add that last set of 4 quilt blocks here to make this beautiful quilt block called Jingle Bells. This beautiful quilt block measures 12.5 inches before finishing it into a quilt. I always like to think about the unfinished size. I know many patterns will list the finished size, but my brain works better just knowing what size this block is right now before I put it in the quilt. And all of the blocks that I'll be sharing in upcoming videos will be 12.5 inches this size, and we'll get them together into a quilt in the future. This one's really pretty. I love red and green. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.